In most neighborhoods, when you leave for work in the morning, you will see them by the dozens, women and men running or walking through the local paths or streets, huffing and puffing, bundled to the necks in cold weather gear, getting that morning run in to start their day. You won't see me, though. Despite the fact that I have to be at work by 7, that would mean I would have to run 4:30 to 5 a.m., because a run for me takes longer than a normal human being. Running or any workout for that matter in the morning has never been my thing. I don't like getting up and exercising right away. I'm too crickety for that right now. It's odd because I spent 10 years in the military where morning workouts were the norm. What is boot camp without the reveille call at 5 a.m. to go out to the grinder for a quick 2-mile run, followed by an endless push-ups and sit-ups and marching drills? Difference was, I had to do it then, and there's no choice in the matter. But I don't have to do it now. I've been thinking about this recently after I was brought to by a co-host on a recent podcast, and actually an earlier podcast, and he noticed I do all my running and workouts at night after work. We might discuss that further on the show, and I think we comes up on now and then on the show, but I wanted to get some thoughts down, and just kind of share it with you. I've always felt better at night. My body seems more attuned to moving and performing after it has had a few hours to warm up. I'm not sure if this is just a me thing or if it is somehow that can be something that can be shown scientifically. At least I didn't know until I started doing some research into it to see if there was anything concrete to show if there's anything to my feelings. I think I mentioned in the show a while ago that there was actually a study that I saw that that actually shows people are more, well, performance is better between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And so it kind of goes against all that the conventional wisdom, I guess you'd say, about getting up and doing that early morning workout. But, but as with most things, people are different. So it's just interesting to see that actually people are looking at it. There was a study conducted in Texas, and I think it was reported in this Journal of Sportsmen. It took about 20 healthy young men and put them through a battery of VO2 testing with the aim to investigate the effects of the time of day on 4 variables that are related to sports performance. They were asked to perform exhaustive, severely intensive cycling tests at 278 plus or minus 35 watts in the morning, which was usually about between 6:30 and 9:30 in the morning, and in the evening between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Performance in the evening was associated with a 4% higher maximum oxygen uptake and a 7% higher anaerobic capacity. The study basically concluded that modest morning-evening differences in maximum oxygen uptake, anaerobic capacity, and oxygen uptake kinetics conflate to produce a markedly longer performance in the evening than in the morning. So I thought maybe there is something more to this than just my feelings, bunny quotes, I have at night. Megan was on me at one point back in my earlier training to forego metrics and pay more attention to how I feel during training. The consensus is that I let the numbers on my watch dictate how I feel instead of letting my own brain tell me how I feel. I agree with this premise to a point. It is obviously important for a person training to be in tuned to the way their body is and react accordingly. But where I stray is that I like to have validation. I don't like to let the numbers dictate, unlike what many think I do, but I use the numbers to validate that I feel at the moment. I'm not staring at my Garmin every step of a run. In fact, I rarely look at my Garmin. When I do look at it, it's normally because I feel like I'm pushing too hard. I want to see what my pace is or my heart rate. I also think evening work versus morning work is one of those old thinking issues, again, bunny quotes, that some refuse to just let go of. And you know what I mean by this, right? When I was playing football in the late 70s, we were made to take salt pills after every practice, and we're not allowed water during the entire 2-hour practice. That stayed in my head for a long time, is still there to some degree, which is why I have to set my watch to beep at me every 10 or 15 minutes, let me know to drink. If I didn't have that reminder, I'd never drink. We were also taught no pain, no gain as a mantra, which is still used in boxes and gyms everywhere, and something most intelligent athletes know to be totally untrue and dangerous. Many coaches, including my beloved team and training coaches, still plan pasta carb loading dinners the night before events, which have been shown to not only not work, but can actually hinder performances. They advise ice baths after running. Do you know why these issues are still clung to? Because taking the ice bath, for example, even the people reporting on them contradict themselves. If you go to the triathlete.com website and read a few articles, then do a search for ice baths inside that same magazine, you'll find articles saying that they are good for you, and you'll find articles that will say they're bad for you within the same magazine. So it's no wonder people get confused, right? This inevitably starts, you find articles saying they're good, you find articles that are bad, and at least do the inevitable article wars on both boards and social media sites. You cite a source saying one thing, someone cites a source saying the opposite, then another cites a source saying both of us are wrong. Cue the inevitable name calling, and the fight is on. We've all been there. The point is this: I have arthritis, and to be blunt, I'm in my 50s, and my body can only take so much. Getting up at 5 a.m. for an 8-mile run is not working for me. It doesn't fit my schedule nor my inner rhythms. By the time I get through the day, I am warmed up and loose, and although mentally tired, a run or swim or a bike does wonders for me. Another article I read on training yesterday gave me 10 reasons why training in the morning is best, 5 of which go against what the study I mentioned already slates. But the fact that stood out to me was number 8, and that was it clears the mind. Aren't most minds clearest in the morning, though? So that really made no sense to me. It clears the mind at 8 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. It clears the mind. You should want to clear the mind at 6 o'clock at night. My mind is totally clear in the morning. It would seem that, and I know some listening to this have families, especially young children, so it just makes sense to train in the morning, and I totally get that. Of all the reasons to train in the morning, that makes the most sense to me. Moms and dads getting up at 5 and running a quick 3 miles before the craziness of getting kids up and ready for school, more power to you. I no longer have that issue. I'm lucky to see my son out of bed before 3 p.m. when I was there. I just don't get the insistence of training groups, not just team and training, but most social groups, to schedule runs at the break of dawn. Why can't the ride start at 9 o'clock instead of 6? The reasoning given is where I am the most often is because of the heat of the day, especially during the summer. And it does get hot here, and it does get humid here. And it's just easier to handle first thing in the morning. But I actually prefer training in the heat. Maybe that's just because I'm a native Floridian. I'm used to it after 54 years of life. But training in the heat is no big deal for me. I hate training in the cold. So even in Florida in January or February when it's 30 or 40 degrees out, I do not want to be out there, especially on a bike doing 18 to 20 miles an hour with that wind chill in my face. Who knows? So as with most things, it really comes down to what works for you, both physically, mentally. All the science in the world telling you that training at night is better, that in the morning won't matter if you just feel better in the morning than at night. So just don't tell me the ice baths work and sugar is required and I'm fine. John out.